Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Lord, wrapping up our show on this Monday. Alex, you just wrote about this over the weekend on the site. ESPN went and ranked position groups across the league. The Falcons had some really good rankings. They had some really bad rankings, which is about what you expect with this roster. But then when you look at them, you see like defensive line third, tight end sixth, offensive line top 10, like a bunch of units that were up, running back second, a bunch of units that were up there.
Every single unit was in the bottom 5 or the top 10, every single unit.
Yeah, so you look at it and you're like, oh, well, we should be around the middle of the league, right? You know, maybe 15 to 20, maybe 20, at least in the low 20s, right? No, the Falcons come in at 29th. And yes, it's not like you said in the article, this isn't like a GPA scale. They don't like average out all the units and then they put you at 17th. Some of them, like quarterback, which the Falcons were understandably ranked 31st, you know, they're going to weigh a little bit more, and they have the Falcons 29th. Listen, I don't see any way in hell. I don't even know how you could argue justifiably that this is the third worst roster or fourth worst roster in the National Football League. Like, there is no way that the Falcons end this season with the top 5 draft pick. If you're betting on that, like, I think you just don't know ball. So I listen, if you put us at 20th, if you'd put us outside the postseason, totally understandable. 29th is just like, unless I don't see it at all. I'm not a Falcons. I'm a homer, but I'm not that big of a Falcons homer. I just don't see any way. We haven't even we picked 8th the last 2 years, and we had nobody on our roster. So I don't see how we all of a sudden got worse spending $250 million. Like, do they really think Desmond Ridder is that big of a chud? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, even then, that much worse than Marcus Mariota, and it's something I don't know if they considered, but if you consider special teams too, I think this team does have a top-notch special teams unit, which does matter in this league, contrary to what some people believe. So, I think 29 is just asinine.
Yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, to Chase's point, I did mention, though, if you averaged every ranking, like if you were calculating a normal GPA, it would come out around the 17th, which is where I think that is somewhere in the range of where the roster is. But again, the quarterback, the most valuable position, bar none. We don't know what Desmond Ridder is. But the offensive line, the defensive line, those are 2 incredibly valuable units. They're both top 10. One of them's top 5. So even if you are knocking the Falcons for, say, quarterback position, there are other very premium positions, 2 of the most premium positions, offensive line, defensive line, where the Falcons are top 10, one in top 5. So I think it's a little disingenuous to just kind of arbitrarily rank them the 29th best roster. Then again, who cares about rankings? They got their job. We're talking about it. You guys will probably go look at it. And that was the whole point. The fact of the matter is there goes a lot more goes into winning football games than a roster ranking. Coaching, just like Jake said, special teams matter in this league, and the Falcons have an elite special teams unit. They ranked by DVOA, which is an advanced metric by Football Outsiders. Go check it out. I'm not going to give you a definition. I'll butcher it. I think the Falcons finished top 10, right outside the top 5 last year. And the depth of this team is only better from last year, and the depth pieces are the special teamers. So they could even improve from last year. It's just not the 29th worst roster.
You're talking about a team that's like plus 200 to win the NFC South right now, and they have us as the 4th worst roster. I mean, we might be the best roster in the division. Like, outside of the Saints,
I think they're the most improved team, maybe in the entire NFC. A lot of teams just got substantially worse. And I just think it's weird. Like I said, I'm not a Falcons Kool-Aid drinker. In fact, I'm pretty nihilistic when it comes to this team. But 29th is crazy. No, absolutely not. And especially, I do agree. You got to weigh the quarterback position a little bit heavily. But, are we really that much worse off than when we had Marcus Mariota? I would say absolutely not. And, even if you consider both quarterbacks, if you consider Taylor Heineke's won football games in this league. So I think you got to have some credit there. I don't know. Maybe we do see him at some point this season. But I just think 29th is ridiculous. I think this team, if they have the 29th worst roster in the league, they're probably picking first in the draft. Like, that's just the nature of the team. But I think I think anything less than 9-10 wins is a disappointment, and the 29th best roster in the league isn't getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if they go under 500, we're set.
I think everyone's expecting at least a 2-win difference. I mean, Arthur's Blank said it. He's like, we should at least win a couple more games than last year. I mean, we spent $250+ million on contract extensions and upgrading the roster. And I don't know, man. I'm just ready for week 1 to start because I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. I think you see some people like the Mina Kimes and the Dan Orlovskis of the world kind of seeing the vision from the national media perspective. But most people from the national media perspective just look at Desmond Ridder and say, oh, they had the worst roster last year. This team's going to suck, throwing us under the bus. And I'm just ready for week 1 to start because if we go out there and beat the hell out of the Panthers at home week 1, and then you get the Packers week 2 at home, first of all, we got to win week 1 because we got to get over 500 for the first time since 2017. Like, we got to. That's our best chance the whole season to get over 500. Let's just win week 1. We've got to. Like, we've got to break that curse. That's a curse that needs to be broken. But thank you guys so much for tuning in on this Monday night. We will be back with you on Tuesday.